Hello and welcome back to the Roads of Elden Ring. Last episode was a campfire discussion episode, and today we will finally do another Roads of Elden Ring episode. Last time though, we had a look at the Jagged Peak and Bale over here, this big mountainous area, much smaller than it looks. I mean, it looks enormous, right? It's still a good big chunk of a level, but it's not as big as it looks. And today we will have a look at this red flower area over here that sits on top of the Cerulean Coast. Somewhat hard to see on the map, somewhat. These have different elevations, but it is how it is. So why am I standing here, and why is it still windy and the lightning is still going on? Well, I had to resurrect Bale in order to get the screenshot for the last Roads of Elden Ring episode. So that's why it's still stormy here. But I guess Bale is a different story, like separated from the rest of the game, so it doesn't really matter if he's alive or dead or alive, whatever. So, the way we're getting to the red flower area is just following this dragon. If we have a look at the map, we can just follow its body over here and then drop down into the area. What we can also do is, before doing that, we can technically go back here and see a bunch of other smaller dead dragons, maybe loot something, nothing major over here. But now, let's drop into the nice red area over here, and slowly the storm should fade over here, at some point at least. It's still blending in. But man, this game looks nice when it's windy. Well, now we're in Charo's hidden grave. There's no site of grace right here. The next site of grace will be on the map next to the Cerulean Coast site of grace, because if we have a look at the map, we have this red area over here, which is separated by this choke point to the rest of the area. And this is probably one of, if not my favorite area of the game, looks-wise. Not necessarily gameplay-wise, because the gameplay here is fairly generic, but it looks amazing. I really like the blend of water and then the red flowers and then these cliffs. Oh, that just looks amazing. But okay, we just arrived here. What is there to see? Looking at the map, in order to not get lost, you should separate, or this is how I do it however you want, but I'm separating the area into smaller chunks, and I'm going to explore these smaller chunks, usually if I'm searching for items. Of course, not necessarily in this episode, but what I would do is maybe look at these cliffs here first, that we're surrounded by, or standing on top of. Like this cliff, maybe there are some items. And then looking at this area, we have a shape over here that we can explore. And then maybe this part. And then maybe this part. And then finally we can go into the next area. So what is so special about this area right now? We have, of course, as you probably already have seen, a Tiber Mariner, Tiberis, whatever. And over there we can already see a fire golem that we could have seen from up there as well. And then there are some other minor enemies surrounding this area. This area, similar to the Cerulean Coast, is surrounded by death enemies, or enemies to the belonging to the death faction. So you might as well take out your holy weapons and maybe your golden epitaph or similar buffs. to just stomp enemies in this area. But man, this just looks amazing. Like, kudos to the art direction here. The person who came up with this specific look. What a wonderful looking area. And I mean the Cerulean Coast as well, but I think the red looks much better. And we have a lone Tibber Mariner here. This one, nothing special, no special summons. Like no big skeleton, if I remember correctly, but just a regular summoner. And of course, graveyard over here with a nice view. And these giant tombstones. Man, the shadow tree looks nice from this angle. Let me grab some items here and there to see if there's anything meaningful to grab. I don't even know what the Tibber Mariner drops. Probably some... let's find it out, shall we? Let's just find it out. What is a bit interesting, like the water itself looks fairly calm, but we have waterfalls here, and waterfalls generally mean that there is, I mean, what I'm getting at, first of all, death in these games, or stagnant water that is not flowing, has to do with death. Usually, if there is a stagnant pond or a lake that is not flowing, no flowing water, then usually we have enemies like these, like skeletons or diseased enemies, whatever, surrounding this area. But this lake, for some, like, first of all, there's no real spring here. Like, it's just there, it just exists here. It's probably underwater or something, or whatever. But this should be flowing water, right? We have a waterfall. Granted, not that fast flowing. Because having a look at it, it looks fairly calm, right? The water looks very calm. But we have a waterfall. Multiple waterfalls. Let's see where it even ends. It probably flows off the edge right here. No? Just ends. That's kind of weird. Shouldn't it pool over here and then flood down somewhere? Oh, whatever. It probably sinks into the water, into the ground. But let's see what the Tibber Mariner drops for us. First of all, they of course like to disappear, getting into the next part of the water. Let's see. Oh no! There is a special summon. The worst one of them all. Oh, whatever. Well, I guess this is the worst Tibber Mariner. No drops, then it's probably a cookbook. Probably. Where even am I? I'm right here, alright. There's a giant bird. Don't worry, it's a statue. I think. And then with this pond part over here, and this should be the final area where the Tibber Mariner teleports to. But it's currently inaccessible. To him. What am I talking about? It's not inaccessible. Here we have the Site of Grace, and then the second part and of the area. But let's have a look. This is probably the most beautiful part here, maybe. I really like the looks of this one. And then let's see if we can get up on that mountainous terrain over there, on these cliffs here. It's fairly easy to get lost. I felt like going through this area the first time. Not necessarily getting lost, but losing track on where I was and where I wasn't. So dividing this area into smaller chunks and then exploring these smaller chunks one by one is definitely a good way to go. While technically what you can also do is clearing the whole map and then exploring these chunks, but why not picking up items beforehand? Big bird statue. A lot of these birds have fire in their beak, which means these are definitely enemies. I mean, you can lock onto them, as you can see. But not the big one. Big one is safe. Here we get the Rings of Spectral Light. It's a... to my knowledge, still... I mean, I don't know what the last patch did, but... when I last played this game, this spell was... bad. Unfortunately bad. So I think it's still bad, because usually when they create a bad spell, they're not making it good again. They are more likely to nerf good and fun spells into oblivion than to buff useless ones, in my experience, which is unfortunate, because there are certainly some fun spells, or were certainly some fun spells destroyed by balancing. But let's get into the second area, where everything really starts. Here the death aspect becomes much more apparent. And then we have a graveyard in the water. I really like that. I really like this aesthetic. Like, I would like to see something similar to this. Maybe not a real graveyard, but maybe a themed set of some sort. Wouldn't that be fun? Like having a... like a theme park, right? The things with the roller coasters and such, where it's like mostly water-based, or maybe not necessarily where it's somewhat water-based, right? And where the guests are expected to bring like water-resistant clothing or something, and then you have a big area like this where you have to go through the shallow water with like amazing looking props similar to this one here. That would be amazing. Probably would be expensive. Like all the water damage this would cause. But I mean, theme parks are expensive, so... to run. So I guess some people can figure that out, the financial part of this idea. Not my part, not my problem. I have the idea, someone else has to do the thing. Probably exists, but if you've watched the other roads of other games, like Dark Souls, for example, Dark Souls 3 in particular, I really like the idea of having water on the ground where you have to walk through the water, similar to the Church of the Cathedral of the Deep, where you have these water basins, where the main part of the church is somewhat flooded. And you have to wade through the water. And through the shit of the giant, I guess, as well. But here you need to be a little bit more careful. I think this is one of the spots where there will be a deaf right bird. Yeah, right there. Is it night? That's early day. Do they always spawn here? So this one is a deaf right bird. You can see that easily by the wings. By these spectral wings with all these ghosts sticking out of there. These are the dangerous ones. And man, they look creepy as hell, like this. What the fuck? Like the head looks like a mixture. It looks like a baby bird skull. Like this very giant eyes, then this small hint of a beak. But the head got smashed in, and you can see part of the brain matter. And then you have this body there with the elongated neck. Let's actually have a look at these birds. Like, I haven't really looked at one before because I really couldn't really, because they would rapidly attack me and I had to run for my life. But look at that neck. Like, the neck is split from... Is it from both sides or just from the top? Okay. Like... Ugh. And then of course the stupid horse tail. Let's get on Torrent for the height advantage here. Having a look at the shoulder blades. Where the shoulder blades should be. What a miserable experience. Or existence, not experience. I mean, experience is also miserable. If I have to think about how they attack and how they fight. But it's basically just a worm. Right, just imagine a worm. Where on the very far end of the worm there's a pelvis with 2 legs that sit like in a frog-like motion. Like, the body is very low to the ground, even dragging on the ground, and the legs are just there. With a stupid... why do they have a horse tail? That's so random. Then on some part, like roughly a bit more than half of the body, they will put like shoulder blades and 2 arms, and then from there on out we got the neck, very elongated long neck with a bend in it, and then putting on that the disgusting looking baby bird skull. And of course they have spectral ghost flame-like wings. Very... like I really appreciate From Software's monster design, because holy shit, they look disgusting. Especially the Bloodborne enemies. This thing could be straight out of Bloodborne. Some mix of a beast and then one of the alien things. Or straight up one of the alien things, but then you would need to smooth out the looks, like make them smooth and not like bloodied and butchered. But of course, more of these these golem birds thingies. And then on the end there should be another part of the armor set, if I remember correctly. I'm probably not remembering correctly, but what is this? No, it's a spirit glaive. Remember the other weapon that we found in the Cerulean Coast, the smaller version basically, where it's just a blade. This one is the actual glaive, which is quite decent. I just need to find it. I don't know where the glaives are, probably on the under halberd. Right? Just skipped it, there we go. The spirit glaive. Looks like that. Nothing remarkable. I mean, looks kinda nice. Should have the standard halberd moveset, not really a fan of that. I like the poke, but the moveset is kinda eh. Especially the spin to when I don't like these. But of course, Ash of War. Same as this one, just with the addition of the ghostly thingies shooting at the enemy as well. Pretty good, pretty good. Nothing special though. Over here there shouldn't be, excuse me, there shouldn't be really be anything, but here we can have a look, better look at the area down there, where we had the one furnace golem, where basically the area in front of the Cerulean Coast. Oh, this one is even there. I wonder if you can... I need to test this one. It's a necessity. Where is it? Man, where are all these consumables? Probably out there. I need to test it. Can I even... Yeet. Oh. Yeet. Oh, that's better. One, two. This one should kill. Oh, that's amazing. Okay. I've learned something new. Very nice. Right, where were we? The deaf birds. Slightly difficult to explore area because it's very convoluted. Somewhat convoluted. I mean, it doesn't really follow, because it's like a nature-esque area, it doesn't really follow a build structure. I mean, you can see some structures, like with the water in the middle and then surrounded by the red flowers and some cliffs, which should be fairly easy to explore. What you can certainly do is follow the corners, like explore all the red areas, and then like here, because we can't get on top of this part, we have to go somewhat around, right? And then it's getting a bit more difficult if you have to well, if you have to break your perfect circle here, like, oh, can't go there, have to go this way, and then, oh, was I there already? And then you might die, and then you have to do all over again. And it's a bit difficult sometimes. Here we have some Miranda flowers, big one, of course some skeletons as well. Lots of death surrounding this area, which is to be expected on a graveyard like that. The hint of a small shack over here. Interesting, haven't really noticed that one before. There's a new one. But I think this area is missing some wooden elements. That's right, that looks pretty nice. Like having these wooden elements here. Maybe this was the shack from the person who built this area. Or who maintained the gravestones. Let's actually see how this is. Oh, it's the hidden grave, alright. That was called the Crimson Coast or something. In comparison to the Cerulean Coast. More undead over here. Let's see if there's anything special up on this hill. Probably not. Nah. And we were on top of that before, remember, from the other side. Somewhat convoluted. So, just not to get, so that I'm not getting confused, and you're not as well. We've explored this part over here. Of course, this whole area over here as well. I'm not counting this now. This part, and then this part as well, right? So the water not really. Maybe down here as well. Let's have a look at this part. What's this all about? I don't know if I can die here with... No, with Torrent I can die, definitely. Let's see if we can get up there. And we definitely can from this ramp over here. Alright. And now this overlaps with this area, so we might as well explore this one as well. And here we have one of these... not that happy hippos, and I'm not even sure. Have we seen one of these before in this episode? And not in this series? I don't think so, right? I think they're in total... Like, there's one here. Then there are... two over here. Then there's one as a boss in here. And then I think in this pond as well. There might be one that I'm missing, but I think there are 5 in total. 4 regular ones, one as a boss. But looking at this area from not the map, where it somewhat looks easy to comprehend, looking at this area from, well, from in-game, it's much more chaotic. With all these plates sticking out, like these plates of land sticking out. Of course you're surrounded by cliffs that go down, because this area is elevated. Then we of course have these honestly somewhat unnatural ponds. Of course it's unnatural because there's a lot of depth surrounding these, but where's the water coming from? You can't tell me that this is all rainwater, right? I mean, maybe you can. Maybe this is all rainwater. I don't see a spring or something. Like, it's not coming out of the mountain. So I guess this should be all rainwater. I mean, you certainly have enough water surrounding this area. With the coast and all. But so far, not really that much to pick up here. We got a weapon. We got a Tipper Mariner. We technically also have a Death Right bird. Should I get rid of this bird to see what it drops? I think that's just the right choice. Let's just throw some furnace pots at this thing. But let's see how utterly we can destroy it by equipping... What am I doing? On the golden epitaph in one hand, and I want the big bad hammer in the other hand, but this is probably not upgraded, right? No, it's not upgraded. How unfortunate. Oh well. Let's just see what the Golden Epitaph's buff can do here. For that I want to turn on the HUD. Let's buff up. Oh, look how much damage it takes. And I don't even need to dodge here. What did we get? Nothing? Something is wrong here. Something is very wrong here. Whatever. Probably something that I have already. Nothing special. But golden epitaph rules. It's getting nighttime. Oh, with the red sky it looks even better. This is some... I need to rant about this again. It really bothers me that we don't see a sun in this game. Like, there is a moon, there are multiple moons, but where is the sun? Like, we have the sunlight reflecting very harshly in the water. But where's the celestial body? Where is it? We don't really see the sun. Like, it's not a circle. It's very bright in the sky sometimes. But that's it. There's no sun to be seen in this game. If someone has a screenshot, if someone found the sun in this game, please send me a message. Right. Another part that I dislike somewhat is on the map, that we can't really see what's going on here because it's underground, technically, underneath this cliff, I should say. Makes it very hard to see what is actually there. But I guess this is to also hide this area, so it's a bit more mysterious. And if you... like, you're seeing these cages and these spiked fences. You already know what's over there then, right? It's a jail. I've talked about this in the Bonnie Village part. Where is Bonnie Village? Over here. We have the Bonnie Jail over here, and we have seen similar items lying in front of this entrance. We have seen this in Ballarat Jail over here, where in front of the entrance are as well cages and these fences, and now here as well. So let's quickly activate this Site of Grace inside the Lamenter's Jail. Man, the Lamenter's item is a strange one indeed. But we will have a look at these jails in some time now. I just need to mark this as such. And let's continue. So I guess you get the gist of this area. Basically every known enemy to man that is in the undead category. We got an undead mariner, or we got a timber mariner, we got deaf birds, like these deaf right birds, we got the new bird golem thingies that are acting like they're statues. We even have these, I guess these are the shadowlands equivalent of the jellyfish, which are supposed to be dead children. And I guess these are supposed to be the children here too, maybe. But these small little arms are so cute. The face not that much, but the small arms, like, come on. Of course, skeletons, if I haven't mentioned them before. But also we got one of these ugly hippos that we will have a look at in a different episode. And another furnace golem, which is the annoying one where you have to throw shit into their cauldron. And apparently you can kill a furnace golem that is wandering down here from up here. So what I'm wondering now is if you can kill this furnace golem down here from up there, but I don't think you can throw that far. Because they're being rendered from very far away. You can see the furnace golems technically from across the map, if you have line of sight to them, but they're rendered in. Such a beautiful area. I really dig the waterfall kind of thing. Also kind of reminds me somewhat, a completely different thing, but maybe not completely, but it kind of reminds me of the, what is it called? Is it called a terrace? Like the thing where you're in a mountainous region, and in a hill you're creating these steps, right? Big steps, like not like a staircase steps, but where where you're growing crops. Usually crops that are grown in water, like rice, for example. Like rice fields, it's not just one big field. You have it on a mountainous part where it's like, right? Because rice needs to be underwater, right? Grown underwater. So you need to have a flat surface. Kind of hard to get a flat surface on a mountain, right? So you have to terraform a bit, creating these flat surfaces that go down in stairs, like the terraces or whatever it's called. I don't know if this is the correct terminology, but it kind of reminds me of that. What is he doing? Like, is the map unloading when I'm not looking? And then it's loading in, or is he falling? Like, that one is falling slightly every time I look away. Oh, enormous rock here. Kind of unfortunate that I can't really talk about the rewards in this area, because I feel like there's certainly some rewards that I haven't gotten, that I should have gotten by killing certain enemies, which is unfortunate, like the Tibber Mariner and the Deathrite Bird. I don't know what they drop, because I've gotten nothing. And the only thing, I'm pretty sure there's another piece of the armor set here. I don't care, it doesn't matter. Let's now not get rid of that thing. I've shown you how to get rid of these furnace golems with the armored legs as already. This is your place. Like, drag him to the cliff and then throw furnace pots into the top. 3 should do the trick. See, again, item that I... Possibly another cookbook, but I don't think we just got 3 cookbooks here. Maybe I'm wrong, but I don't think that. But this is basically the whole area. Kinda hard to gauge how it looks like. This is how it looks like from up here, and maybe I should get rid of that thing. Yeet. Maybe that does the trick. Yay. At least I get the furnace visages. Right. Quite the large area from up here. I mean, we started from where you can see the big dragon wing over there. This is where we started out at, and I can't even see the end. Man, that looks amazing. Especially with the fog and the purple coming out of the ground. Nice contrast to the red flowers here. Kind of wish though we had a few different hues for the different layers. Like for the front we have a red, kind of looks like amber here. And part of it is of course amber because of the furnace golem. Maybe. Oh yeah, over there is the amber. Man, it looks nice. Just remove the dragon wing. It doesn't belong to this picture, honestly. Could be a nice screenshot. Or desktop wallpaper or something. But yeah, this is... what is it called? Charo's hidden grave, right? Should be called Charo's hidden graves. Charos, whatever. Don't even know who that is. Just a random name for me. But now let's have a look at this area from a level and world design perspective. Now that we've just explored the whole thing, there should be some opinions that came up with this area, right? So let's start with the physical level design. Level design in the sense of gameplay, reward, loot structure, enemy design, whatever. Lots of death here, and we got all the possible death kind of enemies. If I remember correctly, there's not really anything missing here. I got the death birds here, or the death the golem birds, whatever you want to call these. The grave birds, I think. The grave birds, sorry. We got the grave birds. We got a deathrite bird. Deathrite bird was correct. We got a Tibber Mariner. We even got one of these hippos. Ugh, and I'm tired. So all the death enemies. I mean, I guess the mantis kind of things lookalikes are missing, like the nightshades, but I'm glad that they're not here. Then the Cerulean Coast, that's good enough, and we don't have the ugly shades here, like the ugly generic enemies without a skin, like the completely black kind of dudes that we have in the whole Shadowlands here. I'm kind of glad these are not here as well, because they don't really look good. Let's turn it daytime again. Making myself ready to take the screenshot as well. Take the thumbnail. But enemy variety wise, there's technically everything here that we need. This would be a nice screenshot. Oh, that would be a nice screenshot. Maybe I can revive the death bird here. Ah, that looks nice. Ooh, that looks nice. Alright. We got all the nice death type enemies, which is fine. And man, I'm going... that's... whatever. Reward wise, can't really talk about the items here, because I haven't gotten any. Like the Tibber Mariner didn't drop anything. I probably have the item that he drops already. Then the Death Bird didn't drop anything, which is unfortunate, so I don't know what the rewards here are, but given that there are these two bosses, they should drop something interesting, at least. And we got the glaive. The grave caller, glaive, or whatever it's called. This thing here, spirit glaive, sorry. We got that one, which is decent too, and I guess the spectral rings of light as well, which are at least a new spell, and at least a new death-themed spell. That is not really good, but a spell nonetheless. So enemy variety-wise, it's fine. Reward structure-wise too. Let's talk about the physical level. Overall, technically nothing special. I'm obviously taking the looks out of the equation. What we have here easier to observe on the map, like we have the entrance, and then we basically have a mountainous area where the mountains are usually on the side or stepwise, like step by steps, where you can technically divide the area into smaller shapes, which is kind of nice for the how do I express that? It's kind of nice to explore areas like that, because it's like you can technically, if you have a map, you can take the map and then mark this area as explored, and then you explore the next area. It's very, in theory, and from a top-down view like this, it's fairly easy to divide this area into smaller areas, making it easier to explore. And they're throwing here and there somewhat like some kind of curveballs, because for example over here, this cliff you can only explore by going deeper into the level and coming back, technically coming back, which gives it a kind of small twist here and there, which is kind of nice. Of course, the overall map over here, like the map that we're looking at, is kind of bad, so it's kind of hard to see elevations, but whatever, and ramps and such. Could be a bit more clear in my opinion, but that doesn't matter. So the area is divided in technically chunks, like let's call it the whole level is divided into smaller and smaller areas. Like you can technically divide it into 2 areas now, or maybe 3 visual areas. Like we have this starting area right here, then we have this middle area right here that goes up to the hippo, and then stops somewhere over here. It's kind of visually on the map, it's easier to visualize than it is, well, when you're going through the level, but there's a visual division here, a physical division, not a visual one, with all these cliffs. And the second area starts there, where it's like the furnace golem's domain, I would say. Man, this looks nice as well. Yeah, that looks nice as well. I really, man, these waterfalls are something. So it's a fairly basic area, or fairly basic design, but, or let's say standard design, but by a well-defined area, and then you're putting holes into it, and you're dividing it up into other areas, which makes it much more fun, and less of a basic area and more like a very specialized, very interesting open area. It's not, I would call this an open area, compared to a dungeon type area, of course. This is quite open, but an interesting open design, a very fun open design compared to just let's compare it to the gravesite plain, where it's one plain area, right? And then you have landmarks scattered in the area. Here you have a very broken up area with let's call it smaller islands here and there, right? And I don't mean physical islands like this, but more like gameplay-ish islands. Like we have this cliff over here, and we have this pond over here, then there's another red part over there with the flowers, right? Like broken up into smaller fractals or something. So very nice level design as well. Difficulty-wise, I wouldn't say it's too difficult. Sure, we have a Tibber Mariner that summons a Royal Revenant, which exists. I mean, take out a healing spell if you're prepared. Heal that thing to death. To second death, I guess. Or cure its death by making it even deader. And then we have a Deathrite Bird, which is also not fun. Like, the bosses over here are thematically fitting. Tibber Mariner, Deathrite Bird, Furnace Golem. I guess it fits into this area because it's the Shadowlands. But none of these bosses are fun to fight. Tibber Mariner, not fun to fight because it's a fucking Royal Revenant. Deathrite Bird, not fun to fight because it's a Deathrite Bird. Furnace Golem, not fun to fight because it's a Furnace Golem with armored legs. But I would still say it's a thematically fitting area, and it's a still fun area. Because it's kind of fun to smash the Deathrite Bird with holy buffs, right? And to see massive damage numbers. Like, I'm pretty sure with my main character I could like 3-shot this Death-Ride bird. With the right buffs, pretty fun. You can 3-shot the Furnace Golem. And the Tipper Mariner's a joke as well. With a healing spell as well. And I mean, it's not impossible to kill a Royal Revenant, right? So fun-wise, level design-wise, it's pretty well-made area. Thematically fitting as well. And possibly some nice rewards, not sure about that one. So now let's talk about the world design, which is... I really like the design of this area. Really nice contrast in color with the flower beds, the red flower beds, and then the bluish stagnant water. Very thematically fitting with all the depth, and it's... I mean, the water is stagnant, right, which invites lots of depth, especially in Japanese folklore as well, which definitely influenced this game. But of course, like, death is the theme here, and it sits spot on. Maybe not as death-like as it could be, but I'm kind of glad about that. We still have somewhat... like the flowing water aspect. We have some flowing water aspects here and there, like we have these amazing cliffs here with the waterfall on it, which looks just stunning. Like, just imagine this area with a bit more vibrance in the colors. Wouldn't that be amazing? And it looks so nice. But of course I have to bitch here and there a bit, because where is the water coming from? End of the bitching. That's all. That's the only thing that I have to... where I have to do a little... Where is it coming from? Right? But the rest makes kind of sense, like in the game world. But really, where's the water coming from? There's not a spring here. It's not coming out of the big mountain here, somewhere off screen technically. It's just there. It's just here. Maybe it's rainwater. I guess that would work too, but then it had to rain quite often. To be fair, it's raining every day in the Shadowlands, 70% of the time. But not here, strangely enough. I guess it's just rainwater. But then it would probably run dry very quickly with the amounts of water that are just flowing down here. But whatever. Stunning looking area, very nice with these different elevation types. Like with these steps, terraces, whatever you want to call these. Like with one layer here, one layer above that, another layer above that, another layer above that. Very nice look. And then the division with these cliffs. It kind of reminds me, like, if you're doing one of these abstract paintings where you're just throwing color at your canvas, right? Kind of reminds me of that, the Cerulean Coast, together with the Charo's hidden grave, where it's like, yeah, let's put some red on top of this blue right here. What do you want to make? It doesn't matter. I want to make something. It looks very nice. Kind of also reminds me of what is it called? I don't know what it's called, but looking at the map from above, like these colorations that you, I think is it in like a stone desert or something, or no, it's like these rocky volcanic areas where it's like rock as a ground, then you have these ponds or geysers that are because of some chemicals in the water that are coloring the ground in different colors. It kind of reminds me of that. If we ever look at the map, we have like the water, which is, well, the water, and then surrounding the water you have rocks of different colors because it got dyed by the chemicals or by the compounds in the water itself, like sulfur or something. Kind of reminds me of that, just from looking at the map. Of course, not by looking at this area right here, but looking at the area from the map. Looks quite nice. And yeah, I can't really say much about this area, but I love it. I really love the I really love the design of this area. It looks amazing, thematically fitting. I would give this, like, if we go back to rating, gameplay is like 7, 8-ish. It's okay. It's kind of fun to smash all these grave birds here. And the bosses with your holy magic or something. Kind of fun. Nice to explore. It's kind of fun to explore. Getting more rewards is also fun, like searching for new items, right? Looks wise, 10 out of 10. I have to. My favorite looking area. Gameplay wise, it's okay, but looks wise, perfect. Let me know what you think about this area in particular, the Charo's hidden grave, if you pronounce Charo's like that. I can also pronounce it like Caro's, but that sounds weird. Charo's hidden grave. Let me know what you think about this area. Do you love it as much as I do? Not from the gameplay, right, but from the looks. Yeah, let me know what you think, and that's it from me. Have a good one, and goodbye.